having a conversation. I'm like, just cut my hair.
They always gotta have a conversation.
Cut my hair.
They can't do it, man, without.
They enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm not one that you're all up in my face, touching my face, ears. He's picking in my ears. I'm like, what are you doing? You did a good job though.
Picking your ear.
No, I'm just joking.
I know. Because no one would do that. That's fucking. I would sue somebody if they touched the inside of my ear while they were cutting my hair.
He almost put his finger in my mouth. I think it was a sexual thing. I'm just joking. So you ready for this greatest debate of all time?
I am.
Welcome to the Preferred Dimension Debate Podcast. Debate. This is the perfect time for debates because, debate season.
Debate season. This is bigger than the debate.
Oh, yeah.
On Thursday.
Way bigger. This
is way more important.
This is going to change how we view things in popular media. Because we're going to be talking about why, I guess, video games is the best medium for entertainment, I guess.
Art. Highest art form, I thought is what you said.
There you go, yes. Highest art form.
That was what I was ready to argue for.
High arts. Mostly lowbrow, but high arts. And I'm here to... you probably already agree with me, because I'm always right. But I'm here to... Do you not agree with that?
That is the highest art form?
Yeah.
I feel like you have a point, and I think your point is fairly valid. But
I haven't even explained my point
in detail, but we've talked about it in the past. Mm-hmm. That's how I kind of know what I think he's going for, and I know what angle he's going to take, and I think it's not a terrible point. So I'm going to be playing mostly devil's advocate today, trying to counter everything you do, because that's how I live. I'm a defeater. I make
Defeat
things...
people?
I make things terrible for people.
He's the final boss fight.
I'm the final boss. I like to argue. I'm fairly good at it, and I think I can probably make a good case against whatever you're gonna say.
I like to argue, and I'm fairly bad at it. I just like to argue, get people mad. I just like enjoying trolling people and making him mad. So go ahead. What are you saying?
It won't make me mad. No, I think I agree with your point in a sense that I think it makes sense, but I probably will. I struggle to just say wholeheartedly, yeah, I feel that it's the highest art form. And I don't know why entirely. I'm going to try to get into it and explore it as we go through this debate, and maybe some of the points I make will kind of help reinforce why I don't.
Do you want to change this to a discussion?
No.
Okay.
We're debating.
All right.
We are debating. This is going to be, we're trying to prove a case, each of us, and it's going to be different. And I can do that. I can be devil's advocate.
You can definitely be the devil.
I am the devil.
Yeah. Okay, so first point. The interactivity of it.
That's your first point.
Yes.
I knew it was going to be there. Okay.
Well, good. Obviously, it's the most obvious. Okay, so... first of all, we're talking about video games, movies, music, books.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? I guess comic books.
Those would be books to me.
Yeah,
I would
books.
lump them in the same category.
Anything.
Entertainment.
Yeah. Expression.
Yeah.
We're putting that all under one umbrella, whatever it's called. So, can you interact with any other medium?
To an extent, but I would say for sake of argument,
can you control what's
game,
going on in the
video game does allow you. I will grant you that. The most control, probably out of any of those art forms. Like, if you were to take music, you could, if you're a DJ, you can manipulate it, right? You can remix it and stuff. So there is art forms with that sort of thing. There is interactivity there. If you're a musician, you can perform. So there's that too. If you're watching a movie, for the most part, you're consuming a product made by somebody else.
Very distant from it. No, yeah. So of course, music. Not everything. It's gonna be interactivity. Of course, there's some mediums. Yeah. But movies, books.
Yeah.
No.
Most storytelling mediums. Most of them are non-interactive in a way that a video game is. I will grant you that.
Okay. So I win that point.
No, that doesn't mean you win that point. I'm gonna have a rebuttal, but
okay.
Just because that means just that all you're saying is that there's an interactive element to it, which I would agree.
Which
that doesn't make it superior.
Why?
That does not make it's just saying
there's another element to it that the other ones don't really have except for music.
Well, how does that make it superior to the other ones?
Because you could do more
present.
with it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're watching a movie and a character does something, and you're not, that's not you, but in a game that is you. It puts you into the story more. For me, at least, I guess that could be an opinion. But still, you can create your character, and you can role play and be that character, and you have a deeper connection with the story.
With some games.
With some games, okay, but you can't do that with movies or books. It's impossible. For movies.
Well, books it can't. So some books are more vague in who the protagonist is. You can definitely become to identify with them more. If they don't flesh them out entirely. I think sometimes stories intentionally leave stuff a little bit vague to make you empathize and you are the character. And I think in a lot of ways, TV shows, movies, even if they aren't necessarily leaving the character vague, a lot of times there's a character there, especially in TV shows, I'd say, that represents the audience. That's like the straight guy. That's watching something objectively, like Jim from The Office.
I was about to say that, yeah.
That's the typical straight guy character who is just kind of witnessing everything and kind of, he's our lens into the craziness around.
Okay, you can say that, but in the game, you're actually you're doing something. It's more active instead of passive. So that's more passive. But you can be Jim.
It is more passive.
Just think of it as The Office is you're actually Office Simulator. You can be Jim, but you're not really Jim when you're watching Office.
In a way, though, I think you are, because you're empathizing, right? So the only difference is you're not doing a physical, action with your hands, and at the same time, but you are empathizing with the character like that. For all intents and purposes, you do feel like you witness what they witness.
Mm-hmm.
You see what they see and you feel what they feel. I think a lot of times
that is true.
That was just one example of Jim from The Office. I feel like that character exists in a lot of TV shows. I've noticed it a lot.
Yeah.
There's like a hair flip. It's bothering me. You didn't watch The Boys, did you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. First off, The Boys is fucking awesome.
That's what I heard.
You should watch it. But second,
superhero?
Yeah, it's like superheroes if they were in real life. But so they're super dicks and megalomaniacs, that sort of thing. It's a great show.
Watchmen?
It's kind of like Watchmen, but it's funnier. It's more
comedic, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more comedic. I mean, it's dark and it's super, super violent, but it's more comedic. And it's kind of just if they were celebrities. That's what they would be if they were real. They would be celebrities.
Okay, let's get back to the debate.
Yeah, but anyway, the point I mentioned is in The Boys, there's a character, Starlight, who's she's a superhero who's becoming one of the Seven, which is their parody of the Avengers, the Justice League, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's up and coming, and she's kind of getting exposed to the world. I think she's the straight guy in a lot of ways in that show because you're learning about the world building and everything from her point of view a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's in her reaction and everything. You feel what she feels. I didn't need to play as her to feel that. Therefore, I don't think the interactivity is a crucial component, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that might enhance in certain ways, but in some ways, I also feel like most of the time, if I watch a TV show or a movie where there's a straight character who's the witness character, the observationist, I can identify with them without ever playing as them.
I can identify them, but I think for me, it's on a deeper level because I'm more engaged. I guess I'm just more engaged when I'm actually playing the game in the moment because I'm more separated. I don't know. I think that
is a fair point.
I'm more separated. Like you're saying, what if you were controlling them, and something happens, you can control the different situations. You can maybe even change it, so you have more stakes in the story. What?
You have a point that you're getting to that I was going to get to, so I'm glad you mentioned.
Okay, so interactivity. That's my first point. Multiple endings. I know some books
Before we go into this,
okay,
I want to kind of talk about something you just mentioned.
Go ahead.
So you were talking about how the interactivity, you have more control over how a thing might operate. I actually think that can be, at times, something that takes the quality down. And
Okay, there is. But okay, go ahead. It can.
And so let's say
it has for me.
Right. So let's say you're like you're in an area that's really hard. It's like a hard boss that takes forever to beat. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that detracts away from the flow of the story a lot of times. Right.
Definitely,
If I'm immersed in a game and I'm angry about the game itself. If a gameplay element makes me angry, does it take away from the quality of the art form itself? I mean, the art form of video game is not just the story. It's the story and the gameplay and everything all together, right? But let's say that component pulls me out a little bit of the artist's vision. You were saying you feel immersed sometimes. Sometimes I get pulled out because I get frustrated. Bloodborne. right.
The game Bloodborne.
And I can't be
it's
the only
very hard. Now, okay, so I kind of agree, I kind of disagree. Well, that game, there's no difficult settings, so you can make it easier. Other games, you can put it on baby mode.
Yeah.
Beginner mode. Okay, so I was playing. I beat I'm not Resident Evil. Silent Hill 2 recently, a couple days ago, and they have a beginner mode where you can just experience the story. Now, they have puzzles in it that's like so like esoteric, you don't understand it. The enemies can be harder, but you can put it on beginner mode and just experience the story. So it doesn't really matter with certain games. Now with Bloodborne, their vision is the point of the games. Those type of games is like overcoming obstacles, like going back and forth, like this with life. Like you apply for. I'm serious. Look, in life, don't you apply for a whole bunch of different jobs and you get?
I don't need to be reminded.
Yes, you do.
I go to video games to escape.
No, you.
I go to art to escape.
Are you going? Are you? Oh, wait. Hold on a second.
I'm not trying to be reminded of the real world. Okay. I'm trying to feel better.
Why do you go to movies? Why do you go to music?
Okay, fair point. I listen to sad music, so I shouldn't.
Why are you going to sad music?
That's a good point.
Why do you make sad music?
That's a very good point.
See, Oh my goodness. Look,
but
okay, good example.
Okay.
Silent Hill 2. Okay, everybody should play this game because they don't make games like this anymore. Horror games, bro. This game is so depressive, like just creepy, just terror. Like I didn't feel good playing the game.
Okay.
It's not fun.
Right.
But it's still the experience of it. And like you saying, like it's like cathartic, making sad music, depressive music. It's hard to describe. It just feels.
No, that makes sense.
It just puts you in that mode that you don't get with other forms of media or like different types.
Okay. That makes sense.
And it puts stuff in perspective. Like I don't want to spoil it, but like the story is related to me. So what do you say about that?
No, I think
I didn't have fun playing a game. It's like out like shooting people in Overwatch. Like that's not escape. Like I went into what is bad about humans and life in that game.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil the game.
No, some games are definitely more like focused on like that's a horror game. It's trying to make
it's not like
you and unsell you. That's the point.
And it's not like other horror games where it's just blood and gore. It's like science experiments. It's a personal story.
Yeah.
Psychological. It's completely psychological. So it's not a lot of games like this. So there's the medium hasn't reached its potential yet.
Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about.
Okay. You want to? Okay, so where were we just at?
We were at the fact. Okay, so what I was getting at is I feel like when you have, or when you give more control to the audience member, is that always a good thing? So that's the question that comes to mind because you seem to argue that objectively, because something gives you more power over its story, over the way it's presented, that it makes it better.
It could, yeah.
But I would argue that it's made by artists who know better than you. They know better than me. They know better than everybody else because it's their vision. So you getting in the way of their vision. I mean, video games, I guess they're intending you to play them, right? They're intending for that extra,
It's
interactivity, but I think that sometimes that extra interactivity can bring down the quality of a story or narrative.
It's called little narrative dissonance. When the game, like how to describe with BioShock Infinite, he's
I remember we talked about this.
Like he's killing all these people.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be like a good guy you're supposed to relate to, but he's murdering people left and right. That's bad storytelling in games.
Yeah.
Now, there is games where you can put it on the lowest difficulty, and you go straight to the story. You don't have to kill you don't have to kill anybody, and there's just no distance between the story. So the gameplay doesn't really get in your way. But with the Last of Us 2...
It's not even just that, though. It's not even just that. It's like, let's say it's the flow of the story, right? Remember I went to that point of, like, something being very hard and hard to overcome. Like, let's say it's not a game like Bloodborne where the intention is always to do that. Maybe it's a game that's different. Like, okay, God of War, for example. The new one.
Okay.
Right? I know you have a lot of problems with that game.
Yeah.
Here's my...
yeah.
One of my biggest issues was the amount of difference between hard. I was, like, sweating, trying to beat this game on hard. Like...
Why are you playing it on hard?
Because I wanted a challenge. Because you know what? I went to medium and I beat it. I switched to medium like maybe 3/4 of the way through the game, and it was a fucking cakewalk. And I knew that was gonna happen because that's what happens with games is that there's really a giant gap always between like medium and hard for me. Whenever I go to play a game, if I play it on hard, I'm stressed. I hate my life. I want to fucking break my PS4. And if I play it on medium, it's a breeze. And then it's too easy, and then I feel like there's no challenge. So, again, that like sometimes I only mention that because in God of War I was getting so frustrated with parts of the game that I was getting pulled out of whatever good it was trying to give me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe that's me. Maybe it's just because I suck. But again, like.
No, but okay. I die a lot in games too. So.
But you could, I mean, I guess you could argue that you could suck at watching movies if you don't digest them, if you don't pay attention, right?
Tenet, that you gotta pay attention to the whole movie. You gotta have a degree in physics to understand the movie.
I've heard that a lot of people have a hard time understanding movies, so don't feel bad. I've yet to see it, by the way. But he's seen it, and he told me that he still doesn't quite understand.
I looked up spoilers.
I feel like most people don't. All the reviews I saw, they said the same thing. They're like, I don't know what I just watched.
It was cool, though.
Yeah.
I understood other movies way more. That was the most confusing movie, but what were you saying?
I was just making the point that I think most of the time, it's much easier for an artist's vision to get carried out the way they intended, exactly as intended with other mediums, because there isn't that interactivity. So because you don't have, like, the fact that maybe somebody sucks and they take forever to... something is more objective and it's truer to the original vision, I think, if it's like a movie or a TV show. So I think that it's easier for that to be, because it's truer to what they originally intended, they tend to be better.
Do you know
on the whole?
You know how you get past that? No fail states. You can't fail. Just games like that.
Oh. But that doesn't... But they
okay, say
maybe
okay.
I just don't know what this term is, and I'm like,
fail state. Okay, so fail state is like game over. Like you die in Bloodborne, you have to start over. Yeah. Some games don't have that. Some games you don't die. So, see, I have bad examples. Okay, all right. Until Dawn. Most
games are not like that. Though.
Until Dawn doesn't have fail states, right? You pick.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. So, traditional games. It's like traditionally you lose a life, you die, you start back over. But now newer like games, you can more cinematic story games.
Yeah.
You just know fail states, are just different paths that you go. So if you mess up, keep on messing up, your character dies, but you keep on going on. That's the story. That's your story. Now if I play the game and I do everything right and I pick all the right choices, I have a different story, but it continues on. You can't do that with movies, right?
Sometimes, I mean, depending on the movie. Like, you're talking about... Look, there's like those Bandersnatch movie, right? The Black Mirror thing where you actually make choices and it changes the movie, right? It's rare, but I'm saying that it's probably more common in video games.
What's the superior one, though?
What?
What's the superior method, though? A game where you can...
Yeah.
It's more natural. Wait, well,
That doesn't make it better, though. Just because that element is there doesn't make it that story better.
But
is Until Dawn better than every other horror movie? No, in one, I mean, it's inspired by other horror movies too.
But it's okay. Now my other point. But go ahead. You have anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
Another point. Okay, how old are video games?
Like probably 80s, like early
50,
late 70s.
Like 50 years. So like 70.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have movies been around? Books been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Basically, well, since people know how to write stories, music been around a long time. Okay, it's still a very young medium.
By comparison, yeah.
By comparison, so it hasn't reached its full potential. So it has potential to even more stuff. Music, like, can you really think of any other type of music, like different types? Like you've heard it all mostly, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's kind of, like, it's not many new genres that come out with music. They come out maybe once every 20 years or so. There's a new genre. And it's probably less nowadays.
Movies. What more can you do with it? And books. What more can you do with it?
I mean, it really depends on the artist. It really depends. I mean, it's hard to innovate any genre. I think it's even probably just as hard to innovate video games.
But it's
I get to your point.
It's okay. I'm just saying it has the chance to go even further. You know, with VR, you ever did VR?
Yeah,
you did VR once, but you couldn't handle it, right? Because
it made me nauseous.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you. Look.
No, I've done other like VR. The one at Best Buy that made me nauseous. But yes, other VR experiences I've done them and they're interesting.
That's the next step in video games. Well, I guess you can watch a movie like that.
You can watch a movie like that too. You can watch porn like that.
You could have just said movie. Yes, you can.
I had to diffuse the tension.
There's no tension here.
No, there's not. There never is. Because even when we argue, like we're not like.
I think this is silly. This is a silly debate mostly, but it's fun.
It is fun.
I'm trying to make you mad, but I don't think I can.
I can't. No, I can't because I think you're making a point. Like if I thought you were just a fucking ignorant tool, then I'd probably be mad. But
more tool than ignorant. But anyway. Just joking.
No, you are too.
Yeah, I am. Okay, I'm a good tool.
Get your point.
I'm a Phillips screwdriver. See, you messing me up.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Hold on a second.
So you were talking about how it's
VR. Okay.
VR.
You ever heard of the game called Super Hot?
No.
Okay. So I was playing the VR headset with the no wires. It's just wireless. It's called the Oculus.
Something like that.
Something like that. I was playing it, and there's no other experience like that because I was in the game. You once you move, the enemies move. So when you stop, they stop. So they're trying to shoot you as first person. I felt like I was in an action movie. I was the actual character that I've always seen in action movies. Like, that's so cool. I want to do that. I was that. I was shooting them. I was ducking, like doing. It was crazy. It was mind altering experience. I don't have that with other mediums.
I could definitely see how it would immerse you more than others.
Now, VR has been around for like 4 years, like in the mainstream. Now, imagine what we can do in 20 years. I don't see that in other mediums.
But the same movies, I think, could be mostly the same. You could be immersed in it. The only difference would be you aren't controlling anything. You're not making anything move. But at the same time, you could do everything you're doing in this virtual reality game happening to you, and you're just witnessing it. So you're saying you can't innovate movies anymore, but you could add smells like those stupid 4D movies they do at like the theme parks. If they actually perfected that and made that better, like feeling stuff hit you when you're watching a movie.
You could do that with games too.
You could.
You're saying you could do everything that you're talking about in a game.
That's true to an extent. Yeah.
You can't. Some stuff you can't do vice versa.
The only difference that you're losing is the interactivity, and that would have to mean that the interactivity is always better. I don't think it is.
It's not always. For me, mostly it is. Well, it could, like you're saying, it could mess up. Like you're getting frustrated.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect me as much.
Let's say you're in this virtual reality war game, and it's just like you're a soldier. Let's say you're like they make Saving Private Ryan, the virtual reality experience, the movie and the game. And you get killed in the game. But you're watching the movie, you're allowed to just kind of witness it. You can feel the stuff. You can feel the impact of everything happening to these soldiers, right? You can feel like, I don't know how they would go about it, how that would work, but let's say they get to the point where virtual reality is so powerful that you can feel it happening to you. You can feel pain or something. And you're watching a movie and like you actually feel like physical harm happening to you while you're watching the movie. Let's say in the video game's the same way. The only difference between the Saving Private Ryan movie and Saving Private Ryan the game is that here you're the one controlling who's shot and everything, and here something's just on a screen happening. So you're saying that this by default is better because you're making choices. I don't think it is.
I'm more involved. I feel like it's you're actually in the game and you're controlling it. It feels like you're more a part of the story. I'm more into it. That's just me. And then you can, and also maybe you can choose like a certain setting. Like, oh, you just want to watch, you can do that. But with a game, you like in the game you can choose the option between like easy mode, like you don't fail.
Yeah.
But like if you want a harder experience, you can actually do something. But in a movie, you don't have that choice.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it gives you more flexibility. But is the flexibility always a good thing? I'd say no. I'd say sometimes artistic vision, it's better just to sit and let that artist's vision immerse you rather than trying to become part of the vision itself, becoming a key component of it. Because we're not artists.
We're not there.
The common people are not artists. Yeah. So they would do something maybe their way. Maybe they would like it. Maybe they would prefer it. But does that make it a higher art form? Since art is more objective, in a sense, than just a personal experience, I would say no. But you bring up a point that I want to talk about too. When you mention it hasn't reached its full potential. I agree.
Obviously.
But here's what I'm saying. I think that also detracts away from its quality. I'm using that argument to say that because it hasn't reached its potential, you can't say it's the highest art form because everything else right now, in terms of, like, I think has perfected its art much better than video games has. So maybe in 50 plus years we could have a different discussion about that. But right now, based on the examples, we're always like talking about the flaws in video games and how like there's so many things that could be improved. Like the little narrative dissonance is still a problem. Like it's not something that's been overcome in video games. It's something that still happens.
I mean, there's examples of video games where it doesn't happen.
Oh, I know. I've played the Marvel Spider-Man game comes to mind because that was cool. It's this little tiny thing. Spider-Man doesn't kill people, right? Like when he knocks people off a building, he shoots a web on them and they attach to a building. That's a nice little detail, subtle, but it makes you still feel like Spider-Man's a guy who doesn't kill people. That's cool. I like that.
Well, doesn't he do that in Batman too? I mean, Batman, he just knocks. I mean, he'd be killing people in Batman.
He probably is killing people. Let's get real. He kills people. Should be dying by what Batman does.
Yeah, he does.
But technically, they're not. And then, like, what was it, Arkham Knight? He's got the rubber bullets in his thing.
People are dying.
That's not Batman.
People got health conditions.
Arkham Knight, I try just to think that Arkham Knight never happened.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. But I feel like it's actually... Okay, so, you know Uncanny Valley, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're finally reaching a point where it's looking realistic. Like Last of Us 2. It's getting to the point where...
It's getting closer.
I'm telling you, it's... For me... Look, I like watching animation a lot. And I don't really need live action most of the time. For me, like, if live action went away most of the part, like, if it was, like, animation mostly than live action, I'll be fine with that. I don't know if you agree with that.
I think... I mean, like, there's an argument for it. It depends on the animation, but I think a lot of times, animation, yeah, it can be just as organic in its feel, if it's done well, as something like, you know, a live action movie. But I think a lot of times even it's better that it's not. It's better that it's unnatural looking because it actually serves the form better. Like we were talking about the Lion King, right? And why like the realistic Lion King maybe didn't work as well because
maybe.
Look, the point is like especially the musical numbers, right? The musical numbers of like I just can't wait to be king. I can't think about how much I can't even express. I should say
so much better.
How much better the old one is at that sequence because it's like got all this like fancy like stylized shit that isn't really literally happening. You can do that a lot easier with animation than you can with like that. I mean, technically the new one's animated, but it's realistic, right? Like it's grounded in like a live action setting. It's supposed to look real. So you can't get away with that. So I think animation sometimes it's good because it doesn't. That's what makes it stronger. Is the fact that you can do stuff you can't do with like that realistic, uncanny valley thing. So,
but we're reaching a point where I think
I don't watch Last of Us 2 and think those are real people, but I will tell you it's probably the closest in terms of like we talked about in a review how it was close to almost fooling me sometimes, thinking I was watching real people, at the very least.
And it doesn't matter if they're real people to me, because they're still characters. It's not about like if they're like actual there. I can feel it. Of course, like you like there's characters on the screen, like people on the screen, but they're not actually there. It's a screen. So what if it's not live action now? So we're getting to that point, and I feel like you're talking about the potential thing. It's finally reaching that point. There's so many different types of games and genres, and I think it's almost there. So what you're saying, it has not reached the point. It has, I think. It's pretty close. Okay, so how many games have you played?
I haven't played as many as you.
Okay, what? Okay,
that's a fair point.
Okay, so I'm just telling you, go search for more. Look for the best stories in games, or I don't know what you're looking for in game. Are you really actually looking for? What are you looking for when you play games?
It depends on. I like a little bit of everything. I don't want to play a game that's like so much story that the gameplay's whack and it's boring as hell. But if a game is like so good at telling a story or it's artistic, something like Shadow of the Colossus, I don't really care if the gameplay is all that great, which in that game is really not. It's more about like the problem solving. It's like puzzle solving. It's really what that game is. It's a puzzle game, and it's an art game. Like it's something visually
like,
great.
Ico, you ever played Ico?
I played Ico too. Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up. Exactly. So they did that a long time ago. Like imagine just years in like the next couple of years, just how many different types of games that they do. This is a game called Papers, Please. Okay, it's you ever heard of that? Papers, Please. So I think it takes place in a country where they're denying immigrants. Like they're trying to see if they're like people like terrorists coming in. So you're like a customs guy. And like you just gotta look at their papers, and look at their face. You're basically discriminating against people. You're trying to protect. See, but they like that's the game. That's the game. And like there's so many different types of games you can do, and like it just tells like social issues and all that. Like it's crazy, but you don't get that with other forms.
Yes, you do.
Well.
Talking about other like you're talking about like diversity in terms of like different themes and like that. Yeah,
you can't. But you're okay. The interactivity. You're actually doing it though.
Yeah,
and I think that has a bigger impact on me. Instead of somebody watch like okay, so there's a scene where you see somebody like denying somebody to come to your country. That's just me.
I guess I get what you're coming from. But I don't fully agree that always like I guess it does make me more immersed in it, but for the most part I feel like I can still get pretty immersed and just empathize with somebody happening to somebody else. And I can almost feel the exact same thing. Because even like no matter what, there's gotta be a degree of empathy here. Even though you're playing a game and you're making decisions, I never feel like it's really me. It's a video game character. Let's get real, okay? When I'm playing Kingdom Hearts and I'm just like slashing up Heartless with a Keyblade, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not me jumping around doing it. It's the character. I can't do that shit. I can't do Nathan Drake shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You ever made yourself in the game before?
Yeah, I mean, like, I made myself in Madden football.
Y'all see?
And of course, I was the greatest wide receiver in the league. Because of course.
At 5'8", 5'9".
I'm the best wide receiver.
Okay.
In the NFL.
But that was you though. That was you doing it. You can't do that in other stuff.
But okay, even still, like that
I'm reaching here.
It wasn't really me. But that's my point. Mm-hmm. So even when it's like a created character or whatever, most games you're not just walking around doing your everyday life. So
Mhm.
you have to have a degree of empathy anyway to like become this video game character. Even with the interactivity, there's a degree of separation that's still there that you would have in the movie. The only difference really between the video game interactivity is that you're actually doing stuff physically. So like you're pressing buttons and you're immersing your body while you're immersing your mind, which you don't really do with a movie. You usually just sit and watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I think the big difference is. And I don't know if that key component of being physically active is always as much for me to be like that makes it by default better. Okay, and something I wanted to mention before I forget, because it's actually why I wanted to get into the hasn't reached its potential thing,
Mm-hmm.
is I think the number of examples of high quality art that comes from video games, in terms of like actual concrete, not what it could be, not what this art form could be once everything's perfected. And I don't even think movies are at the point where everything's perfect. Obviously, we have all these terrible like Fast and Furious movies still coming out and all that shit.
But
QB Halloween just dropped on Netflix, Jeremy.
Oh man, I can't wait.
So movies aren't perfect either. Like movies have been around for, you're talking about like 100 years. They're still not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's still shit movies coming out all the time. So that's still a thing, and I know that, you know.
There's far less examples, but
exactly.
But you know why? You know why? Because originally video games were just meant for gameplay. This all
true.
As long as we've been alive, there's only been stories, like story-focused games for like the past 25 years. Like what do you expect? For 20, maybe 30 years, since like 1990, there's been stories in games. Now, serious stories where they actually...
I had another thing I wanted to say.
Okay. He's like, remember that.
I just don't want to forget it.
Okay.
No, keep going. I just don't want
That's how you remember? Okay. You're not going to Jedi mind trick me, okay? I'm not going to change my mind. Okay, so it's only been 25 plus years. What do you expect?
Okay, but even by proportion,
okay,
are the highest quality things, like the highest quality video games, highest quality examples, are they as good as the highest quality thing by proportion?
Yeah.
On the whole?
For me,
I don't know.
Okay, look. I don't care if it's, like the writing or whatever, the cinematography. It just depends on what I get out of it. That's just, I guess, it's my personal opinion. But that I've had more concrete, life-changing experiences with video games than movies. Maybe, like very similar in proportion.
Let's just not talk about movies. Let's talk about music.
Music. Okay. All right. Music. Okay.
Something like you mentioned, life changing, and that brings me to a point to like nostalgia. I go back to old games all the time. I go back to all
old games you go back to.
I mean, I don't feel like breaking them out right now, but like Shadow of the Colossus, I have Donkey Kong Country sitting up there, sitting in the thing because because I don't want to pull out my TV. But the point is,
Shadow of the Colossus. Okay, that's perfect.
Shadow of the Colossus, Donkey Kong Country. I play a lot of those just because of nostalgia value. Just because it's something that impacted me at a time where like it was important. Now I play it and I feel like I'm in that time again almost. And
I gotta rant about people not enjoying old video games. Like old video games are old. Like they're people. There's people that say that. People that are game journalists.
I'm on the other side of this argument. I still agree with you.
There's game journalists that say that. Like they just care about the new stuff, and it pisses me off so much. It's like, okay, you say that. Okay, you're playing your new game. Why should I take your opinion at heart when you're just gonna forget about it in like next week? Why you don't care about it as much? Anyways, go ahead. This makes me mad.
Games are great. But my point is like I do that with probably music and movies and TV shows more than I do with video games, because I think the number of examples of video games has stuck with me the way that like old albums have. Like I go back to old albums all the time. Albums I grew up with, like Green Day's American Idiot. That came out as a kid, right? Mm-hmm. I listen to it still because it just reminds me of being a kid. It reminds me of that time, right? And same with movies too. I watch movies I saw when I was a kid that I've seen a long time ago, and I want to watch because it puts me in a mood, right? And I have video games like that. I have video games that had the same emotional impact on me, like I mentioned, like Shadow of the Colossus. I just think overall,
Mm-hmm.
They were higher quality movies, or they did something better. They were more emotionally resonant. They were more emotionally resonant examples than there were for video games.
I was dancing.
I was trying to conduct you. I was like, I want to see what he does.
I like the okay.
I don't know why I talk with my hands. I'm not.
No,
Italian.
I talk with my hands too.
I'm not
It
Italian.
helps you get it out.
Yeah, I think I just watched too much Seinfeld.
So I haven't watched Seinfeld in a minute, but I need to watch it. But okay, you're saying there's not many examples.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when he's strong, and I think that the strongest examples aren't as strong as the other art forms. For me.
Hold on. Okay.
You gotta understand. You are a person who's played primarily video games his whole life.
No. Look, I listen to music and movies just as much.
My friend.
Well, probably not as much as recently, but go ahead.
But other people don't play video games as much as you do.
And they should. They should.
But that's something you gotta think about too. So when you say that video games is the highest art form, you are talking about something that's more personal for you than it is for other people. Because other people don't play video games as much.
How many video games have you played in your entire life?
I don't know.
You think?
Probably...
To completion.
I don't know. I played a lot. But I don't...
Have you played a lot?
I'm never going to play nearly as much as you. I know that. But I played probably like close to 100.
100?
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by that number.
I don't know. I'm totally taking
games have you... How many games have you played a year since... Like, you used to play more back then.
I used to play more when I was a kid, for sure.
I'm surprised by that.
I used to rent games, too, from, like, Blockbuster and shit.
Okay.
When I was a kid.
Alright,
so... I can't do anymore. And I did GameFly for, like, a little bit, but I hated GameFly, so...
Why?
The delivery system.
Oh, I never really did it.
It took forever for any game to come, and most of the games I wanted didn't come for a while, because, like, they couldn't get, like, Netflix, where they could get, like, a new game right away. So...
Okay.
I didn't love it.
Alright, what do you want to get out of games?
What do I want to get out of it? I guess what I get out of everything else. So, like, if I get, like, I'd say emotional impact, probably. Emotional resonance. When I was thinking about what examples stick out to me, I was thinking about the things that emotionally resonated with me. So, probably the same thing with games. I want to feel emotionally, like, they're emotionally resonant.
And it has, okay, so like what, a movie or music? Okay, movies, like a good story, good characters.
Good characters, even like the mood and stuff like
the mood, like the music, of course,
the sound, everything, the mise en scène, if you know what that is, like the
setting, like the art direction. Art
direction is a very good word for it.
Because I was, I was watching The Killing Joke yesterday.
Yeah.
It just seems so like the art, it seems so plain to me.
I didn't like that one that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Joker looked good in it, but it was no art direction. Like Batman, the older ones, that Batman animated series.
Yeah, that was
Batman Beyond. It has more art direction. That's what I'm talking about with art direction. You want that. So, what was my point? So that's what you're getting. You're trying to get out the same thing as movies, music. Like you want the highest quality of everything.
I mean, yeah, I want every piece to be as good as possibly can.
Do you take it as serious as other?
What do you mean?
Do you take it as serious as other video games? Do you take it as serious as other forms?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think... I mean, probably not as serious as you, but I do think of it, I go into it expecting an experience, and again, that emotional resonance doesn't emotionally resonate with me. Sometimes I'm using a game to just kind of, like, chill, and I admit that, like, things like... But I even do that with TV shows and music. There's a lot of music I don't listen to because I want to think about it, right? If I want to listen to, like, Tool, I probably gotta sit down and like actually pay attention. If I want to listen to like rap music, I really gotta pay attention because lyrics are a big part of what makes rap special, right?
I mean, some, yeah.
Well, not like mumble rappers, but if you want to listen to like something like that I listen to, which is mostly like alternative or conscious rap, then it needs to be something that I kind of actually pay attention to. Otherwise, I don't get much out of it, you know. So, like, but there are things too where I can just sit back and watch it. Like I could watch a dumb movie. It doesn't do anything for me except it's visually pretty. Like most Tim Burton movies are like not that deep, but they're cool looking.
Yeah,
right?
the art direction.
Right.
The mise en scène.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't always look for everything. If I'm gonna say my favorite movies, I think probably have the highest caliber of all those factors. But a lot of times I'll watch one that just has something good in it. And I think I play games in the same way. Just good gameplay. Or maybe it's just pretty to look at. I'll play that game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whatever.
I was just trying to make sure.
I would say it's about
you don't
equal.
just like, oh, games is just like a toy.
No.
I'm just making sure we're in the same.
I think games, first off, and this is not in terms of just the debate, but in my actual legit opinion, I think games are an art form.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're
it was a discussion
form.
that wasn't really an art form. Like, but there's not much you don't have to do much to make art. It just depends if it's like good art.
I would say if somebody crafts, if they knit a fucking scarf, I'd call that art. So I'd say it's something where you put in much time and dedication to like a video game is definitely art. If you don't think that, you're a fuckhead, honestly.
People that make video games back in the day used to say that. It wasn't that long ago. So I'm just making sure you're like you consider it like you're not like. Oh,
I think some are more artistic than others.
Oh yeah, of course, but that's true of everything.
Right, like I think like Call of Duty Modern Warfare is probably not a lot of artistic value to that, right?
No, it's just...
But that's just one video game, and I wouldn't lump in that. I think it is an art form. I think most things that are creative expression are an art form.
Okay.
So,
if
that's one of your arguments, I can't really counter that because
No, it's not one of my arguments. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same.
We are
plane.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something stupid. I just wanted to put this in. Other art forms are antiquated.
So music is
antiquated.
Music is antiquated.
Okay, I was gonna say books.
Books are more antiquated than others, but they are older. They're probably the oldest art form of anything we've talked about here.
You know why they were writing books back in the day? Like, you know why?
Why, Jeremy?
Because the technology wasn't there to make other art forms yet. So, it's antiquated. You don't have to read books, okay?
There are things I think you can do with books you can't do with movies, in a way.
How?
One thing I've thought of before, for sure, is that movies, because they have a visual, you can't always write twists the same way. I could write a crazy twist where one person's always been the same character. I think they actually did that in the Game of Thrones books. They couldn't get away with it in the show because you're watching the show. So you wouldn't recognize, oh, that's that person. I've already seen him. He's the same guy, whatever. But when you're reading the book and, like, let's say, because I think it was Daenerys met this guy and she didn't know who he was. So he was going by two different names for a long time. And you didn't know he was the same character either because you were seeing it from Daenerys' point of view. You were reading from her point of view. So that's just one example of something that I thought of as a writer because I was like, that's a really interesting way to make a twist because you can't do that in other art forms. You can't get away with that if there's an objective narrator, which essentially every TV show or movie has just because of the visual, right? You're always seeing stuff unless you trick people and you say that this is from a person's point of view and they're an unreliable narrator, that sort of thing. Most of the time it doesn't work. So that's something you can do in books. That's just one tiny thing, but that's something, right? So there are narrative things I think that can be done in books better than can be done in movies. Does that make it antiquated? I don't think so. But and is it? I guess if it's antiquated to me, it would also have to be. Does it not innovate anymore? Is there a point where like there's nothing that can be done in books that's experimental or different or new? And I don't think we've reached that point either. I think books still have a lot of room for doing things a little bit differently, but we just rarely explore it. Most books are structured a similar way. Most, movies are too. But if you look at something like, have you ever read House of Leaves? You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I never read it.
It's wild, but it's not that good of a book. The point is, it's a shitty book, actually. It fucking sucks. But the point is, it's innovative. I will give it that. At the very least, that shitty book is innovative. And it's different. The way it manipulates text on the page and even manipulates the story. Like, it changes the medium. You can do stuff with pictures that in books, You can do all kinds of stuff that, like, has rarely been explored.
That's a comic book, okay? Pictures and books.
House of Leaves is not a comic book, but... But I'm just saying, there's different things you can do. there's ways to innovate that have not been done yet. So I think it's still not antiquated to me, because if there's room for new things, if there's room to pioneer it in certain ways, like if you're going to change the overall style, size of it, the way it looks, you can still innovate. It's not antiquated.
I feel like
maybe it's more antiquated than video games, because video games are newer. But
there's a reason why, because it's a higher art form. I wouldn't miss. Look, would you really miss something reading books compared to? I don't want to say video games, but music and movies.
What? Wait,
would you be missing something? Okay, what would you rather? What would you get rid of first?
If I had to get rid of something?
Yeah. I know you say video games.
Out of those four?
Yeah.
Like TV shows, movies, or video games, movies, books, and music.
And I'm going to explain to you why.
I would give up books because... No, I would. Okay. Because I think out of all those, I think just for me...
Imagine just reading a book after experiencing everything else.
I think still probably would sit down and read a book, honestly.
But for the rest of your life, only experiencing books while everybody else is enjoying the technology of the modern age.
What kind of fascist society are you imagining?
Hey man,
where this happens?
That could happen. Technology, everything just like the apocalypse, and then you can't use technology anymore. Just got freaking books.
You would kill yourself. Day one of zombie apocalypse.
All right, man. Look.
Jeremy commits suicide. No video games left to play.
See, look, that's a scary. That's the worst nightmare. I can't think of it.
Die. No, I'd be all right, because I like writing. I think I like writing, so I like books. We're not
talking about writing, man. We're talking about enjoying something. We're not talking.
Yeah, but I like writing, so I therefore like reading.
You can put writing.
I think therefore I am.
Oh my goodness. The one you can't even quote any other Shakespeare.
That's not Shakespeare. That's Descartes.
Oh, okay.
You know how I know that? From a book.
Oh, you could have read that anywhere, okay?
I didn't read it in a video game. Oh.
Who cares about Descartes? The fart, okay? Nobody cares about him anymore, okay?
I'm gonna fart in your face.
Who cares? Okay, all right. Just joking, all right?
Yeah, no, okay.
He's cool, man. He's cool. Anyways, okay, so you're saying you'll get rid of books. So exactly. You love books, okay? You love writing, but you'll still get rid of it.
I do.
You had to.
Actually, when I think about it, if I had to choose one of those art forms to never consume again, actually it would be video games.
Okay.
I changed my mind.
Oh, it changed your mind, huh?
You know why I'm thinking about it now? Because I just said all that stuff about how I like to write and how... And video games influence
you can still
me.
write it.
I know. But video games influence me. But I can't tell you... I remember, I was never actually really much of an active reader. I used to like writing, and then I started reading more, when I was, 18. I could always read. Obviously, I wasn't, unable to read, but I didn't do it often. I didn't do it often at all. And I started reading, a couple books per year, when I was, 18, and I've been doing it ever since. And I feel like it made me a better writer. So, therefore, I would be better giving up video games. Even though I do it, it has not impacted me creatively. Mm-hmm. Because I probably don't make video games, too. It's harder to make video games.
You can write a video game, too, right?
I know. And I actually have. I was so nerdy. When I was a kid, I had,
That's not nerdy. That's cool, man.
I was fucking nerdy, though. I had, plans for video games, drawn out for,
That's cool. You can do that. See, you don't need to have a book to do that. Video games, you can write in a... Okay, so...
But I think I was enjoying... Come to my last point in a second. I was enjoying the books more, so that's my point. But yes.
You're enjoying the books, okay. All right. So my last point. You say you can get rid of... Well, I guess you can't get rid of movies. I guess you could. You can get rid of movies, books, music. You can get rid of all that and have video games. You know why? Because video games contains all other forms of art. And the interactivity. What doesn't it... What?
The only thing it does... Okay, it might have a story.
It can.
It has a narrative,
which
books and movies do. But books and movies don't even have the same things in them. Books, like I said, are done... The way that they're done is the art form itself. So therefore, you don't have a book. in a video game.
Yes,
you have a story.
No.
You have a story in a book, but you don't.
I'm telling you, there's. Let me tell you.
Go explain.
Let me tell you.
Explain.
Okay, pick a book.
Tranny.
All right. So I make a game. Oh, okay. Oh, we made a game. Let's put tranny in it. You could put tranny in the game.
That would be the worst video game ever.
No, what? You could just put it. You know how in games. No, it wouldn't. You know why? Because it just be side content. You know how they have side content in games?
Yeah.
You could just put it in there, and it's like, we were inspired by. You can't do that with a book. You can't put a video game in a book. That's Makes true. It better. Okay, music. Music is just like movies. You can put a whole entire album in a video game.
That's true.
And you can play. You know how like you said Madden, you can put your own playlist and all that. Yeah. Music right there. Boom. You don't need music. You don't have a separate thing for music. You just put it in the video game, and you also can play it during the gameplay to tell your story. Boom. Music gone. Just separate. Now movies, you have cutscenes. You can tell a story. You have cinematography in a game, just like The Last of Us. You don't need a movie, so it can. And also, it has animation. What other forms?
I don't know. This was your point.
Is there any other form you can think of that's not in it?
That it crocheting.
Crocheting. Okay. Crocheting.
Do this one, motherfucker.
You can make a crocheting game.
Oh my god.
See? You gonna make a crocheting movie? A crocheting.
That would be the worst movie ever.
Exactly, but you can make a crocheting game and still make it good because.
Do you have an actual product at the end of it?
Maybe.
Oh, how?
It could. I don't know. It's possible.
I thought you could crochet with the game.
It's possible.
Get fucked, bro. Get fucked.
It's possible.
I'd find the hole and I found it.
Bro, this is a hole in it. This is a big gaping hole. You can jump right in. Anyways, you can put any. Okay, crocheting. Is that really art? Like art form?
Yes. I mean, I don't do it, but
who does that?
Like people on Etsy and stuff. My aunt.
Okay.
That's why it came to mind.
Okay, but you can make you know how they have simulations like flight simulation. You can do that. You can make a crocheting simulation, right?
A simulation
of it. Yeah.
Simulation.
A game.
Simulation.
Yeah. Okay, now are you just trying to like creep me out and just?
No, it's not the real thing. So you don't have a product at the end of it.
Yes, you do. You have something in the game. What's wrong with that?
It's not the whole thing. You get a whole. That's the whole point of crocheting. Part of the art form is the fact that it's
a
physical thing.
Oh, okay. Do you have a physical thing with music?
You could have a record that has sound on it, but no. Most of the time,
it's not a physical.
Technically,
thing,
you do. You actually don't even. You perceive music, but you feel it in your ears. It's sound waves.
You can feel that in your ears when you're playing the game. You're playing it.
That's true.
So you don't really need a separate music, like a record. So it can go away. So that's why it's the highest art form, because it contains all other art forms. And it combines it and makes it a video game.
Does it do it the best way possible, though?
It can.
But does it?
Yes.
If it can, why doesn't
it? You know why? Because people are blind. People are stupid. People are dumb. You know? People are like...
I'm sorry. That was funny. People are blind! Blind!
Open your eyes.
Fools!
Open your eyes.
I don't know why that's so funny.
They're blind.
You're all blind! You're all a bunch of fools!
Child, I'm trying to open your eyes to the beauty of video games. Yeah, people are blind. They don't realize that once next couple years is only going to be video games, okay? I'm telling you, they're going to get rid of every other art form. Books, all burned.
Oh my god.
They're going to just, music. You only release it.
Burn all the books.
You know why? Because it makes the most money out of every other art form.
How long do you think this will take for your vision of fascist video game?
Once COVID gets everybody, all the national selection.
You're thinking really quickly.
It's gonna be about when I'm on my deathbed. It's like, I got rid of everything.
My work is done. I can sleep peacefully now in the grave.
And we're gonna look back at this video when I die in 5 years.
You'll be a fucking legend, won't you?
Yeah, and nobody will remember me.
But you know what? They won't be able to watch it unless it's in the video game.
Okay. So what?
No more podcasts.
No more podcasts. There's gonna be a podcast. I've listened to a podcast in a video game. Okay, I didn't listen to a podcast in a movie. Unless it's a movie about a podcast. But I can play the game while listening to the podcast. I'm telling you, it can happen. So you don't need anything else. So, the winner of the debate. Me. Okay. So, that was the what are you gonna say to that craziness? I'm not craziness.
Nothing to say.
Fact. Okay?
I think obviously it's quite the overshoot to think that video games will absolutely take over and make everything else.
No. I was joking.
I know it was a joke.
But when people are listening or watching a movie, you're like, man, I wish I was playing a video game because it already has everything in it. What's the point of this? No. Of course, it's going to always be there. But
I guess, okay, here's...
People are going to flock.
There is a point I want to get to. Because you said the reason people don't already just flock to it is because they're blind. I think there's a reason. It's because the examples, like I said, there's not enough examples of like things that are the best in a video game world overtaking, like the best music. Like the best video game music isn't better to me than the best music that's not for a video game. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think the best albums were not albums created for a video game. Yet.
I love video game music.
I like some video game music for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of it's good, but I think that like the best music has not been made for a video game yet. The best music, objectively, was not video game related.
That's why people are blind.
Yet.
You see that? Yet. Yes.
He thinks he won because I said yes.
Yeah, see?
I hate you.
I'm future proof, okay? You're talking about you're talking about the present. I'm talking about the future, okay? The future
is now, old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm older than you. So open your eyes, okay? Child. We be flying in our hover cars, all right? Playing video games, not listening to music. No, we're gonna be listening to music while we're playing the game while we drive around.
While we drive?
Yeah. In our flying Teslas.
Nothing wrong with that.
Shout out Elon Musk. Anyways.
Oh my god. Anything else you wanna? Do you feel satisfied? Do you feel like you got it all out of your system?
Yeah.
This wasn't actually a debate. This was just a video intervention.
For who?
For you.
For me?
We're trying to...
There's nothing wrong with me, okay? I'm in the right side of the history, okay? You're gonna be on the wrong side, alright?
They're gonna look back at it.
You're gonna be the person still reading... Oh, okay. You know how people still actually read newspapers when you can just get it off your phone?
Oh, newspapers are definitely antiquated.
Exactly. I wanted to bring that up, too. That's an art form, too.
That is an art form. That one I don't understand. It's... I guess...
Stuck in your ways.
But I mean, like,
they enjoy it.
Like, the reason I have a bookshelf, right? I like holding books when I read them. Like, I can't...
And with me, I like buying games. Nobody really does that as much.
Yeah, see, like, you have a weird thing, too, where it's just, like, a physical... But even then, I could argue that's irrelevant. Why would I do that if I can just download a game? There's something...
There's reasons why. There's actual reasons why.
The one thing about borrowing games that is valid. But other than that...
More.
Go ahead.
I don't want to... Do you want to continue on with this?
Yeah, I want to know.
All right. Well, you ever heard of the Scott Pilgrim video game that came out in 2010? It's not a good example anymore, but...
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
You played it?
No.
You know why?
They discontinued it?
Yeah. You know what it was? A downloadable only game. Now, that's a big problem with video games. Okay, so... Is there always a physical edition of books?
I mean, there might be some that get released only, like, Kindle only now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think for the most part, there's always a paperback. Always.
So imagine if you didn't have that Kindle edition, they discontinued it. It's just gone forever. That's my big problem with online only multiplayer games. Eventually, it's gonna go away. So it's just like it never existed. Would you really want your art, like what you worked on for maybe years of your life, just gone from existence? That's creepy.
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
I don't like that. That's why I collect the video games. One of the main reasons why.
It could happen for anything. Like, it could even happen for, like, a record after a long enough time. Like, it could be that, like, in the year 3000, the last remaining record of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors physically deteriorated.
Mm-hmm.
And the world has descended into chaos. There's no more electricity or internet or anything. And we lost the last piece of humanity.
But there's an example.
Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. The point is, it could happen to anything, but it probably is a lot easier for it to be gone and have less fidelity if it's strictly digital rather than just being physical. That is a good point.
I showed you an example of it happening, but actually it came back though. They got it's all about licensing.
Yeah.
So like it's not just always out there. A company has to keep its licensing of it, and it's like with like Disney stuff, like Marvel stuff, like the older. I don't know if you ever played the older Spider-Man games. That was under Activision.
Yeah.
Or some other thing. Like you can't buy those on download, but you can still buy the physical edition. That's my problem with digital only.
Yeah.
And how did we get to this?
You were just talking about why I was talking about how I like to hold books or whatever, and you were saying we were talking about newspaper.
Yeah,
it's really
so that's why I think people. I think that's a different thing though. It's the news.
I guess like if it was an iconic event, like let's say it was like when the soldiers returned home from like World War II or something, you had a newspaper with that headline or something, like a really famous photo on it. Or I've seen people like put newspapers in a frame if it was like when the Tigers won the World Series or whatever. Like, I guess I would get that.
Oh yeah,
I would have a record of that. But other than that, for the most part, news I consume on the daily, like just reading stupid articles.
Is it even really news? Like what they talk about?
Like reading like shit about Trump stuff on Twitter. Like I don't want to frame that or anything. So I consume it on my phone and done.
It's not really art. I guess it's just information.
I think it is an art form, but it's something that I agree I don't get the whole print version of it. I think the part that makes it artistic was in the journalism itself, which all translates into the mobile or...
Yeah. It's not necessary. But with, like I'm scared of it. Like, some games, it just can completely go away.
Yeah.
If, like, it's not downloaded, somebody didn't download it.
I worry about that with music too.
And music too, yeah.
There's music I've downloaded from like iTunes and stuff that I've lost forever because, it's not on Spotify, so I can only find it like if people put it on YouTube or something. And...
Oh, that's a good. Okay, I have another point. You can add this in if you want. Okay, so can you watch full video games on YouTube?
What do you mean?
Full playthroughs of video games on YouTube.
Yeah, can't you?
Twitch. There's a whole entire website dedicated. You can do it legally. Can you do that with music and movies?
No, because of people coming after you for copyright.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because every experience is different.
That's the excuse?
Boom, yeah. It's not an excuse, it's just fact.
No, that's true.
You can't say fact.
But let's say lawmakers decide, there's money to be made here. This is my art getting... You know what it is? They just haven't jumped on video games yet.
Yeah, no, it's sad.
They will. They will.
People make
once they realize.
No, but actually Nintendo is pretty harsh on people with that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, because I think it's free promotion for them.
I think most art, honestly, it should be accessible to most people, but they're not. The problem is this is a separate issue.
Okay, so if you watch YouTube, watch a movie on YouTube or listen to it on music, like on YouTube, you're less willing to buy it rather than a video game because you watching a video game and you want to play it.
Well, maybe. What if I think it sucks when I watch it?
I know, but like, imagine if it's a good game, okay? Of course,
I get you.
some games suck. Okay, but you want to buy it, you want to play it, so
yeah,
that's another advantage.
yeah,
It's different. It's different from just watching it. You gotta actually play it.
a little bit. I have been turned off though watching gameplay. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, me too.
A lot.
But my mind has been changed on some games. Like, oh,
Same.
I heard bad reviews. I watched a video of like the gameplay of it. I want to buy it now. I want to play it now. If I found a movie on YouTube. And I just watched it on there. I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna buy it unless it's like really good. I guess.
Yeah. What if it's a good movie?
But I'm less inclined to do it because I've already watched it.
I think
that's really.
Do you rewatch
really,
movies though?
I do.
Okay, so if it's a really good
but if
movie,
it's always on YouTube, I can just watch it on YouTube.
True.
See, you're less inclined to actually experience it. I mean, buying it. You know.
I mean, you could always go torrent the game though, right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not making a claim to.
So your point is that you would pay for it more because it's a video game.
No. Okay, not pay for it. I'm sorry.
Just you would seek it out more.
No. Okay, look. Okay, yeah. So I'm more willing to play it. Okay, you can. I'm not. Don't steal games.
We are pirates.
Don't steal games. But
steal it all.
I'm more willing to go out my way to buy it or steal it. Not steal it, but get it in unconventional ways.
Hit a lick.
Hit a lick on the video game. Like, I'm gonna lick that video
Somebody
game.
said that in my work chat, and I literally just died.
Oh,
they're like they're licking it. I was like, or they said they're gonna hit a lick on something. I was legit dying. It was like a month ago.
Did you say?
I thought of you.
You say you gonna lick it? Let's lick it. If you don't know what that means, look it up.
Yeah.
But you're more inclined to experience the video game yourself instead of just watching it.
Here's the thing with that example in terms of the real world, like YouTube quality movies suck. Like I've tried to watch. It's always terrible trying to watch like a TV show or a movie illegally. It's always like wrong. They have to like flip the screen or something to avoid. It's funny sometimes, but
I forgot about that. It is lower quality.
And it's always lower quality. So a lot of times I will want to watch.
YouTube can always raise up the quality. If there wasn't being so cheap on the.
They want to make money.
I guess
it's not just the quality of the. It's like they got to be careful because if it's too high quality, they'll get caught and it'll just get copyright and taken down. That's a big problem. Music, it depends. I mean, a lot of artists will just stream their stuff on YouTube for free. I mean, they just do it because they own a license and the record label just want to put it out there. So I mean, that's most artists these days have at least like Vivo or something.
Artists do that. Yeah, just do it. Well, I got Apple Music, so I got something. I can't live without it anymore. Like Apple Music or Spotify, like premium.
Yeah, Spotify's my thing.
I don't know how people still look up music on YouTube with the ads.
I can't do it because if I want to watch or if I want to listen to a whole album, I used to have to listen to Tool only on YouTube, and that's why I hated it. Like everything else in my library was all in Spotify.
I think I'm just like disproving my point by saying. I think we're more serious about it, but most people are just like they just look it up on YouTube or what's that Pandora.
Pandora sucks. I don't know why
you don't like music if you listen to Pandora.
Look, Pandora is good for one thing and one thing only. You might find some new music that's similar to what you listen to. But look, people, you can do that on Spotify several ways. Okay, you can go to the artist radio on Spotify, which is basically everything Pandora does. So you can do that, or you can listen individually to like a whole album, or an artist individually. Playing a song, you can't do that on Pandora because it fucking sucks. There's no point to it.
I like that. I like the energy. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why people do that, but
I don't get Pandora. There's several ways on Spotify to discover new music. You can also do Discover Weekly or whatever. It will try to calculate stuff based.
People don't care about that.
I know. You can click on an artist page, you'll see 5 related artists, and you can keep going down a rabbit hole. I do it all the time.
That's work, man. That's work. for
it's
people.
fun. Like for me, it's fun because I just
People
like
don't
I'm
care
like
anymore.
exploring. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I've never heard of this, and just when I'm bored, like I go and explore new stuff.
Those are the weirdos that don't listen to music on their like when they're at work and they have a choice to. They just sit in silence.
I don't know how people do that.
Those are people I don't want to associate with, and I'm sorry if you do, but you're a freaking weirdo.
If you can listen to music, you should be.
Yeah, music, something, learn something while you're working, multitask, learn how to edit or milk a cow or something, anything. Just don't sit there in silence.
Art forms. You know what though? The highest art form, cow milking.
There's a cow milking simulation somewhere. It has to be on Steam
No, you gotta feel it, man.
You don't have to feel it. That's
You
gross. That's freaking gross. I'm never touching a cow in my life. Okay.
I did it at a farm when I was like.
I'm only eating one.
It's 6 years old and it was the weirdest thing ever. I'd never want to do it again.
That's
is really weird. It's really weird. We did it at a farm when I was in like kindergarten or first grade.
That's gross. See, video games solve everything because you don't have to do it.
But if you were really immersed, you'd feel those otters.
Well, look. Okay, all right. VR. It's the year 2032. Okay, we're in VR.
Oh, optimistic.
Okay, we might be. I probably won't. But okay, VR headset. Boom. We got the udders. Okay, you're simulating like fake udders, and then you drink the fake milk. But it's not milk. It's just like it's just regular milk from a carton. Okay. You just need you.
I don't want to milk a cow.
We're going to.
I was joking.
We're going into the simulation.
I know what this is.
We're going to be living in a simulation. Okay. We're not going to be living in reality anymore. We're going to be in a simulation of VR. We're going to be hooked up like the Matrix.
We've always been in a simulation.
No, don't start that. Okay. It's been pretty
shitty. Yeah, it's because they want you to. They're testing it, so they're making your life as shitty as possible.
Not fine.
They're testing variables.
They're not going to beat me. I'm taking the red pill. I'm going back. No, actually, no. I'll go back to the simulation. Fine. Because I'm going to go into a simulation within the simulation.
Oh, Simception.
Is that... Yeah.
We're
bringing it back. 2010.
Oh.
Okay. So, conclusion. Video games is the highest art form. You don't need... It's not necessary to have any other art form. Because it contains all other art forms. Plus... the interactivity of it, so it makes you more immersive into the video games, so it doesn't matter. You just need video games, and it hasn't reached its full potential yet, but it's only 50 years old at the most. It's been the last 30 years since they try to tell serious stories. So give it some time.
Okay, well,
you're gonna be on the same side as me in the next 10 years.
10 years?
Okay, 5 years.
5 years? Oh, we are doing a sequel debate.
Okay.
5 years from now.
Okay.
What's the date? What's the date today?
I don't know.
October
something. Okay, October 18th, 2020, 2025. You can even get it. We can do it in January. Cause it's gonna
in January.
Yeah, we don't even have to wait until October 2025. We're gonna come back and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm on your side now. And then I'll get the next person, whoever, your brother or somebody, okay? Somebody
else you got to convert to the cult of Nintendo.
Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, freaking Amazon has their own thing now.
Their own game system?
Yeah, like a streaming service. They just made it.
Oh.
It's pretty. I think it's shitty. Oh no. Google has Stadia. It's like a streaming. It's so bad. It's so bad. And they released it last year, I think, or earlier this year, and nobody plays it.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was released. I remember hearing that they had a system coming out or something.
It's so bad. It's like the laughing stock of the video game industry. But
oh well,
that's our future. And you better get on the right side of the history.
No, I will have to, because what choice do I have? Apparently, it's the highest art form.
I got a head start of it, man.
I
recognize.
You're just
I'm a
so innovative.
Okay?
You're a revolutionary, really. At the end of the day, if we want to call it like it is, you're fucking revolutionary, man. There's no one like this guy.
Soon we'll have to eat food, sleep. I'm trying to get rid of sleep. Okay, sleep. I'm gonna try to get rid of in the next couple of years.
Why are you so against sleep?
Because it's terrible, man. It's boring.
You're asleep. You're not supposed to know. You don't get bored because you're not really sleeping. That's the problem. You're not.
I am really sleeping. Okay.
Are you dreaming?
Yeah, I'm dreaming. Okay? I have mostly bad dreams, okay? It's not my fault.
This is why.
So, look, okay, let's go back. Okay. When I'm dreaming, I can't control it. If I was able to control it, like a video game, I would enjoy sleep.
Dreams are the highest art
That's
form.
the end. Hey, I can agree with that if I can control it.
This is the worst.
Where's your camera at on this? Okay, if I can control it. I've been looking at you the whole time. Control it. If I had... That's good. That's a good idea for a video game. There's a game called Dreams already.
Yeah.
They recently... See?
Where you like can make your own game, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty cool.
You can make your own dreams. You can control your dreams. Okay?
You sound so sad.
Because I hate sleeping, man. I get so disappointed.
You really do.
So, once we can control our dreams, I would love sleeping. But we can't. So, but I can control video games. So it makes it a lot better. So video games is the highest art form. And that's the end. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining.
Yes.
Us.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm not Drew.
No, you're more of a Drew than an Andy. And Drew. And I will see you next time on the next debate.